Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant General Charles Bouchard of the Canadian Forces, Combined Joint Commander for NATO's Libya Response Operation, codename Operation Unified Protector. He is the commander of NATO and non-NATO assigned ODP forces. NATO's operations in Libya, which currently include enforcing the UN-mandated arms embargo and no-fly zone. Just before I turn over the podium to General Bouchard for a few remarks, I just want to check the VTC. Can we confirm the VTC is working? Brussels?
Yes, absolutely. We can see you and we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, Oana, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, General Bouchard, for taking time out of what we know is a very busy operation to brief media both here and at your headquarters in Naples. As you know by now, I think Lieutenant General Charles Bouchard is a Canadian Air Force helicopter pilot who's held several senior command positions in his distinguished career and who's now NATO's commander of Operation Unified Protector. General, I know you only have about 20 minutes. We already have a couple of questions here in Brussels, but please go ahead with your statement and we'll come back for the questions afterwards.
Thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. As you will appreciate, it's been a rather busy few days. I also want to welcome Brussels again to this news conference, and although I cannot see the NATO spokesperson in person herself, I'm grateful for her to be here today for an opportunity to explain NATO's lead military role in this Libyan crisis. Last week, I had a great opportunity to visit the crew aboard the Mount Whitney, which is not too far from here, in fact. And I got to appreciate the great work done by these great professionals. As you know, the Mount Whitney has been a command ship for the coalition operations. And while there, I had an opportunity to, first of all, say thank you to the crew and all of the staff who have worked so very hard in these past few weeks. Secondly, I had the chance to have some discussions about how NATO will eventually take over this military effort by exercising command and control from this headquarters here in Naples. I've since had the opportunity to think and discuss the way ahead with many of the nations who are and will be participating in this NATO-led operation. This is a great example of why we have this military alliance that can come together very quickly and operate effectively together. As you know, NATO recently designated me as a Combined Joint Force Commander for Operation Unified Protector. My task is to lead the nation and NATO and non-NATO forces that are being assigned under Operation Unified Protector. NATO's operation in Libya include enforcing the UN-mandated arms embargo, enforcing the no-fly zone, and to help protect civilians and population centers that are under the threat of being attacked in Libya. The arms embargo is in place with more ships arriving all the time. NATO has also started missions to enforce no-fly zone, and after last night's decision by the 28 allies of the alliance, NATO decided to take on the whole military operation in Libya under the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973. Our goal is to help protect civilians and population centers from attacks or that are the threat of an attack in Libya. NATO will soon be implementing all military aspects of the UN resolution. This is a very significant step which proves NATO's capability to take decisive actions. In the past week, we've put together a complete package of operations in support of the United Nations resolution by sea and by air. We will be acting in close coordination with our international and regional partners to protect the people of Libya. The broader the effort, the more powerful the message we send to the Libyan people who are desperate for our help. I do want to emphasize that transition from coalition to NATO forces has been and will be a seamless handover, with no gap in the effort to do what it takes to help protect the people of Libya. Just to review with you some of the milestones that led to standing up the Operation Unified Protector response to the ongoing crisis. NATO allies on the 22nd of March responded to the UN call by launching an operation to enforce the arms embargo against Libya. On 23rd of March, NATO commenced the arms embargo operations. The alliance decided on the 24th of March to enforce the no-fly zone over Libya, assuming the responsibilities from the coalition operation. And as you know, yesterday, NATO aircraft flew the first no-fly zone enforcement mission in support of the operation. And late last night, the alliance decided to take on the broader role of protecting civilians and population center. And soon you will see NATO and our allies and our partners together in charge of this important effort, commanding all military aspects of the UN Security Council Resolution 1973. These three actions are a clear demonstration of the Alliance's commitment to uphold the United Nations mandate and to show our resolve to do what it takes to help protect the people and the population centers in Libya. I do want to emphasize that NATO is taking action as part of a large international effort to protect the civilians against attack. We, NATO, are coordinating with our partners in the region and internationally and welcome their contribution. We have a mandate, we have increasing support from our partners, and together we will make a difference for the people of Libya. Here in Italy, I will tell you that this NATO headquarters, Joint Force Command Naples, is absolutely vital for this operation. Their work over the past few weeks have been tremendous and truly well executed. You see in our headquarters an international collection of forces. A wide variety of nations' militaries have gathered because it is critical, because it is the will of the 28 nations. Its strategic location has been important to the alliance and has been important for decades and centuries, as you all know, and it remains so today. So, we're very thankful for our host here in Italy that have been so very supportive of the alliance over so many years, and now enabling and welcoming the international forces that are operating so effectively. We simply could not accomplish our mission without the great support of all of those that are participating and the nations behind. I'd be glad to take a few questions, but let's go to Brussels first, Mitch.
Questions? Brussels, your questions, please.
Okay. Al Jazeera?
Yes. Hello, General. Paul Brennan from Al Jazeera English here. We're hearing credible reports from the Gaddafi loyalist town of Sirte that there have been coalition airstrikes against targets both in and around the town. Can you confirm whether those reports are true? And if so, how you reconcile that with NATO's stated stance that it is impartial between the two sides, pro and anti-Gaddafi?
While we're monitoring NATO's operation and all operations, I will not comment on coalition of operations. I will restate, however, that NATO, on assumption of the mission, our goal is to protect and help civilians and population centers under the threat of attack. That's where we stand.
Can I take a second question from Brussels?
Bloomberg?
Jim Neuger from Bloomberg News. General, just to follow up that question, can you tell us what the status is of the fighting around Sirte? How close are the rebels to taking the town? Secondly, you spoke of coordination with the international community. What, if any, coordination is there with rebel groups on the ground? And thirdly, based on Libyan troop dispositions, how quickly do you think the rebels could advance toward Tripoli?
These are all excellent questions, and yet we have not taken over this important task as we are. We continue to monitor the situation. We keep an eye on the situation. We are discussing it with coalition forces. However, this position and action at this time are best kept and addressed by the coalition members. I'm sorry, your last questions, I did not get it fully.
When exactly will you be taking over from the coalition?
The transition is in process right now, and we are under the direction of the North Atlantic Council and SHAPE headquarters to continue this transition, and the exact time of the transition is still being coordinated. This is a very complex operation, but it's an operation that NATO is ready, NATO is able, and NATO will take on. The exact date is soon, and I'll make sure you know about it as soon as we're completed the handover.
Thank you very much, Oana. To move now to Naples, if I could come to the front, please. Reuters.
General Phil Pulella from Reuters would like to know if you believe that NATO taking charge will encourage more alliance countries to participate in the operation, and more importantly, do you think it could encourage non-NATO countries to contribute to the operation, specifically Arab countries like Qatar and UAE have already done so?
Well, NATO represents 28 nations. 28 nations are committed to this mission, and certainly we are working together to meet our mission of protecting civilian and population centers under the threat of attack. Through that, we also welcome the addition of regional partners and international partners who want to join this alliance, and giving the strong message to the people of Libya that we understand their suffering and we will do our best to help protect them.
Lady at the front.
Magnet from CNN. There is a very real chance that this could be a protracted civil war between two sides where civilian casualties are caused by military aggression on both parts. What would NATO's role be then, if you could give a little more clarity on what the rules of engagement are?
Well, first of all, with regards to rules of engagements, we do not discuss them. It's akin to asking a football coach to give you his playbook. So we will not discuss operational details nor rules of engagement. But I can assure you that every action that we take is always taken with care to ensure that minimum collateral damage takes place. Our job is to ensure the safety of people, and we will do what it takes to do that, but we will also ensure that we ensure their safety in doing our operation.
We've just got time for one last question. The lady at the front here, please.
Two things. Nicole Winfield from the Associated Press. To follow up, I think, on the first question from Brussels, where do you draw the line between protecting civilians and providing air cover for the rebels, particularly as they're advancing on Sirte? And then a second question. Tomorrow we have this political steering committee meeting in London. How do those decisions that may be taken by this grouping affect the chain of command and your decision-making ability here in Naples?
I understand the great concern as to our activities and their impact on the people on the ground. But truly, my message and my mission is clear, is to prevent and help prevent and protect populations and population centers from the threat of attack in Libya. That's all it is. With regards to tomorrow's meeting, I will be watching it with great interest, and no doubt my commanders will provide me the guidance I require to continue this mission. Thank you very much. I'd like to actually close with one point. This mission is being undertaken by a great team of men and women working in NATO and in partnership with NATO. Let's remember them in all our efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Bouchard, for giving us that point of view from the operations headquarters in Naples. We'll continue to try and organize these video teleconferences for your benefit.